Many men today feel genuinely scared and confused when they hear that certain foods are destroying their prostate, and in their panic, they start cutting out entire food groups without really understanding why or what the science actually says. I see this reaction constantly in my practice, and I completely understand where it comes from. When you are dealing with uncomfortable symptoms like frequent nighttime urination, weak flow, or concerns about your prostate health, and then you read conflicting information online telling you that nearly everything you eat is dangerous, it is natural to feel overwhelmed and frightened. The truth is that the confusion is completely understandable because there is so much contradictory information out there, and not all of it is based on solid scientific evidence. Some sources tell you to avoid all meat, others say dairy is the problem, and still others claim that even healthy foods like tomatoes or soy are somehow harmful. This creates a situation where men either become paralyzed by fear and do nothing, or they make drastic changes that are not necessary and may even be counterproductive to their overall health. Today I am going to cut through all that confusion and show you, with clear scientific backing, which foods genuinely deserve moderation when it comes to prostate health and exactly why they affect your prostate the way they do. You are not going to hear vague warnings or fear-mongering. You are going to get specific, actionable information that you can use immediately to make informed decisions about your diet without unnecessary anxiety or extreme restrictions. My name is Dr. Isabel López, and I am a urologist who specializes in helping men understand and improve their prostate health through evidence-based medicine. My role is not to scare you or sell you miracle cures. My role is to give you clear, honest, scientifically sound information so you can take care of your prostate with confidence and peace of mind. I am curious where you are watching from today. Drop your city or country in the comments below. And make sure to follow this channel because I am committed to bringing you the truth about men's health without the hype or confusion. The first category of foods that genuinely deserves your attention and moderation is saturated and processed fats, particularly those found in fatty cuts of red meat, processed meats like sausages and bacon, and fast food. These foods have been consistently linked in scientific research to increased risk of chronic inflammation and hormonal imbalance, both of which directly affect prostate health. This is not about demonizing red meat completely. This is about understanding how excessive consumption of certain types of fat impacts your body at the cellular and hormonal level. When you consume large amounts of saturated fat regularly, your body shifts into a pro-inflammatory state. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the primary drivers of prostate enlargement, prostatitis, and even increased risk of prostate cancer. The inflammatory compounds that circulate in your bloodstream when you eat a diet high in saturated fat accumulate in prostate tissue and trigger cellular changes that promote abnormal growth. Additionally, excessive saturated fat intake can elevate estradiol, which is a form of estrogen that men produce in small amounts. When estradiol levels rise too high in men, it disrupts the delicate balance with testosterone and creates an environment where the prostate is more likely to enlarge and develop symptoms. This hormonal imbalance is made worse by the fact that excess body fat, which often accompanies a diet high in saturated and processed fats, converts testosterone into estrogen through an enzyme called aromatase. So you end up with a double hit of hormonal disruption that directly targets your prostate. The practical solution is not to eliminate red meat entirely, but to be strategic about your choices and portions. Choose lean cuts of meat. Limit your consumption of processed meats like bacon, sausage, and deli meats, and avoid fast food as much as possible. Replace some of your red meat meals with fish, which provides high-quality protein along with omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation. Use healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocado, and raw nuts as your primary fat sources. These changes alone can significantly reduce inflammation and support better hormonal balance. The second category that has a profound impact on prostate health is sugars and refined carbohydrates, and the mechanism here is all about insulin resistance and metabolic dysfunction. When you consume excessive amounts of sugar, whether from soft drinks, candy, pastries, or white bread and pasta, your blood sugar spikes rapidly. Your pancreas responds by releasing large amounts of insulin to bring that sugar back down. Over time, if this pattern repeats day after day, your cells become resistant to insulin, which means your pancreas has to produce even more insulin to do the same job. Stick with me until the end because I am going to tie all of these food categories together and show you how inflammation is the common thread that connects everything and what that means for your practical approach to eating. But first, you need to understand why insulin resistance matters so much for your prostate. Elevated insulin levels and insulin resistance are strongly associated with benign prostatic hyperplasia, which is the medical term for an enlarged prostate. High insulin also promotes inflammation throughout the body and creates an environment where abnormal cell growth is more likely to occur. The worst offenders in this category are soft drinks, fruit juices with added sugar, candy and desserts, white bread, white rice, and pastries made with refined flour. These foods provide a massive glucose load with virtually no fiber to slow down absorption, which creates the most dramatic insulin spikes. Over months and years, this pattern not only damages your prostate but also increases your risk of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and obesity, all of which further complicate prostate health. The solution is straightforward but requires consistent implementation. Replace sugary drinks with water, herbal tea, or sparkling water with a squeeze of lemon. Choose whole fruits instead of fruit juice because the fiber in whole fruit slows sugar absorption and prevents the insulin spike. Switch from white bread and pasta to whole grain versions, and limit desserts to occasional treats rather than daily habits. These changes stabilize your blood sugar, reduce insulin resistance, lower inflammation, and create a metabolic environment where your prostate can function normally. The third food category, or more accurately beverage category, that significantly impacts prostate health is alcohol, particularly when consumed in excess or on a regular basis. Alcohol places a heavy burden on your liver, which is the organ responsible for metabolizing and clearing hormones from your body, including testosterone and estrogen. When your liver is overworked trying to process alcohol, it cannot efficiently perform its other critical functions. And one of the consequences is disrupted hormone metabolism that directly affects your prostate. When you drink alcohol regularly or in large amounts, several things happen that are harmful to prostate health. First, your liver's ability to clear excess estrogen decreases, which leads to higher circulating levels of estrogen relative to testosterone. This hormonal imbalance promotes prostate enlargement and increases inflammation. Second, alcohol causes dehydration, and dehydration concentrates your urine, which irritates the bladder and urethra. For men who already have an enlarged prostate, this irritation significantly worsens urinary symptoms like urgency, frequency, and nighttime waking. Third, alcohol itself acts as a bladder irritant, meaning it directly stimulates the nerves in your bladder and makes you feel like you need to urinate more frequently even when your bladder is not actually full. This is why many men notice that after a night of drinking, their urinary symptoms are dramatically worse the next day. The combination of hormonal disruption, dehydration, and direct bladder irritation makes alcohol one of the most problematic beverages for men dealing with prostate issues. The recommendation here is not total abstinence for most men, but rather moderation and awareness. An occasional glass of wine or beer, meaning once or twice per week, is generally tolerable for most men without significantly impacting prostate health. However, daily drinking or binge drinking on weekends is one of the most avoidable risk factors for worsening prostate symptoms. If you are currently experiencing prostate issues, try eliminating alcohol completely for 2 to 4 weeks and observe how your symptoms respond. Many men are shocked at how much better they feel when they remove this one variable. Before we dive in, I want to share something special with you. I have created a 21-day challenge designed to help reduce and prevent prostate enlargement with simple exercises you can do in less than 15 minutes a day. Do not wait. Grab your copy of the ebook right now. The link is pinned at the very top of the comments. Now let me tell you what actually harms your prostate, because this is where the real conversation needs to happen. The primary culprits are excess saturated fats from processed meats and fried foods, excessive sugar consumption from sodas and sweets, and regular alcohol intake that burdens your liver and disrupts hormone metabolism. These 3 dietary factors work together to create chronic systemic inflammation and hormonal imbalance, which are the direct drivers of prostate enlargement, prostatitis, and increased cancer risk. This is not theoretical. This is what the research consistently shows across thousands of studies and millions of men. When you consume these inflammatory foods regularly, your body shifts into a pro-inflammatory state where your immune system is constantly activated, your cells are under oxidative stress, and your hormones are out of balance. High saturated fat intake elevates estrogen levels and promotes the conversion of testosterone into DHT, which directly stimulates prostate growth. Excess sugar causes insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome, both of which increase inflammation throughout your body, including in your prostate tissue. Alcohol overworks your liver so it cannot properly clear hormones from your system, leading to hormonal chaos that affects your prostate. Beyond diet, the two lifestyle factors that have the most profound impact on prostate health are physical inactivity and abdominal obesity. When you live a sedentary lifestyle with minimal movement and exercise, your circulation decreases, inflammation increases, and your body becomes less efficient at clearing toxins and regulating hormones. Abdominal fat is not just passive storage. It is metabolically active tissue that produces inflammatory compounds called cytokines and converts testosterone into estrogen through the aromatase enzyme. The more belly fat you carry, the more inflammation and hormonal disruption you create, and the higher your risk of benign prostatic hyperplasia and prostate cancer. The critical insight that changes everything is this: the danger is not in eating a tomato or drinking a glass of soy milk or having your morning coffee. The danger is in maintaining an unbalanced lifestyle characterized by poor food choices, excessive consumption of inflammatory substances, lack of physical activity, and accumulation of visceral fat. When you understand this fundamental truth, you stop wasting energy worrying about individual healthy foods and start focusing on the patterns and habits that actually determine your prostate health outcomes. This is where your power lies, and this is where real change happens. The sixth category is somewhat different from the others because these foods do not necessarily cause prostate disease, but they can significantly worsen symptoms in men who already have prostatitis or benign prostatic hyperplasia. The main culprits here are caffeine from coffee and energy drinks, spicy foods, particularly hot peppers, and carbonated beverages, including both sugary sodas and sugar-free versions. These substances act as bladder irritants, meaning they directly stimulate the nerves in your bladder and make you feel increased urgency and frequency. For men with an already enlarged or inflamed prostate, adding bladder irritation on top of the mechanical obstruction from the enlarged gland creates a perfect storm of uncomfortable urinary symptoms. You might notice that on days when you drink multiple cups of coffee or eat spicy food, you are running to the bathroom much more frequently and with greater urgency. This is not psychological. This is a direct physiological response to chemical irritants affecting your bladder nerves. The key point I want to emphasize here is that these foods are not inherently dangerous or disease-causing in the way that processed meats or excess sugar are. Coffee, for example, has many health benefits including antioxidants and improved cognitive function. Spicy foods can boost metabolism and have anti-inflammatory properties. The problem is purely about symptom management in men who are already dealing with prostate issues. If your prostate is healthy and you have no urinary symptoms, moderate consumption of coffee and spicy food is generally fine. The practical approach is to pay attention to your own body and notice what you tolerate well and what makes your symptoms worse. If you have prostate issues, try eliminating caffeine completely for 1 week and see if your urgency and frequency improve. If they do, you can then experiment with small amounts and find your personal threshold. The same applies to spicy foods and carbonated drinks. There is no need for extreme restrictions or dogmatic rules. The key is self-awareness and adjustment based on your individual response, without creating unnecessary fear or deprivation. Join the Members Club. Drop a super like if this scientific explanation has helped you understand how food actually affects your prostate, and share this video with any man who needs clear, evidence-based information about prostate health. Now let me tie everything together with the most important concept you need to understand. No single food in isolation destroys your prostate. The real problem is the cumulative effect of excess and imbalance across multiple dietary factors that all converge on one central mechanism, which is chronic inflammation. Saturated fats promote inflammation and hormonal imbalance. Excess sugar causes insulin resistance and metabolic inflammation. Alcohol disrupts liver function and hormone clearance. Ultra-processed foods increase oxidative stress. All of these pathways lead to the same endpoint, which is an inflamed, enlarged, dysfunctional prostate. This is why focusing obsessively on eliminating one specific food while ignoring the overall pattern of your diet misses the point entirely. Prostate health is not about perfection. It is about balance and consistency. When I work with patients on dietary changes for prostate health, I emphasize that we are not just treating an isolated gland. We are supporting your entire metabolic system, including blood sugar regulation, hormonal balance, liver function, cardiovascular health, and inflammatory status. Everything is connected. A diet that supports prostate health is the same diet that prevents diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. It includes plenty of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, healthy fats, lean proteins, and minimizes processed foods, excess sugar, and alcohol. The power to improve your prostate health is in your hands, and it comes from making conscious, informed choices every single day without fear and without extremes. You do not need to follow a restrictive diet that eliminates entire food groups. You need to understand the science, recognize the patterns in your own eating habits, and make gradual, sustainable changes that reduce inflammation and support your body's natural ability to heal and maintain balance. Start with one change today, whether that is replacing soda with water, choosing fish instead of processed meat, or cutting back on alcohol. Small, consistent steps lead to significant long-term improvements in how you feel and how your prostate functions.